When I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "Can't find him." He said, "What do you mean can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
Can't find him. Where is he? And in the last days, we learned that the official law enforcement search is actually scaling back. This as TikTokers and YouTubers are flooding the area, conducting their own searches. Listen to Eric Craddock, Chief Deputy, Sumner County Sheriff's.
Really want to come to the community and ask for your help. We need you to search your properties every day, morning and night.
Let's watch.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here, coming at you with another raw narrative. Thank you all so much for being here. I see, hey Jude, nice to see you. I saw a quick notification that someone didn't get a notification, so I apologize about that, guys. I don't know what YouTube does half the time. I will try to post it earlier. Sometimes I have a chance to do it, but other times I don't. So hopefully. Hi, Show Poodles. Nice to see you, Star. Nice to see you. We got Forever Nikki's mom. Sorry about that, Forever Nikki's mom. And awesome Show Poodles. And Sandy. Hey, Sandy. Nice to see you. Donna, hello. Hi, Donna. And it looks like we have a bunch of people in here already, so that's wonderful. Good to see all of you. I hope you're all having a great Saturday. Is it Saturday today? Yes, Saturday. Sorry. So yeah, I just want to go ahead and get started. I wanted to go over a few things with Jen Coffendoffer's interview, like we have been, but I kind of wanted to focus more on the polygraph, because there's been a lot of speculation about the polygraph, whether they took a polygraph, or kind of what is going on with it. So I wanted to kind of do a little bit of a rewind and see if we could go back and check out. Hey, brown-eyed girl, nice to see you. Nice to see you, sweetheart. Very nice to see you. And oh, Show Poodles. Oh no. Well, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, and so yes, we need to give brown-eyed girl a wrench for sure, for sure. And so I just kind of want to jump into that and hear what Jennifer has to say. She's not convinced that a polygraph was taken. And so I kind of wanted to take that piece of her interview and explore it a little bit further, do a deep dive into it. So I did prepare some clips tonight, and I will go ahead and show you the first one here. Let me go ahead and take down, just because I don't know if I put any little words in this one. And then we'll go to this next one here.
Same with the polygraph. We've heard a lot. The only polygraph that we know for sure that I saw and read about was Nancy Grace having an FBI agent retired give Seth one and pass with flying colors. We know about that one. We know that Chris Proudfoot, because I saw this, said, "Come on, bring it. Let's get a date." As far as I know, he never was polygraphed. They never got that done. So I'm just repeating what we know, that we've seen with our own eyes. In other words, is it possible that Chris Proudfoot could have left where he was? It was 3 hours and change away, and been there the night of the 25th. Is that possible? We don't 100% know. I mean, it's possible. It's physically possible, but we don't know because law enforcement hasn't told us. So unless somebody knows something I don't know, and I can't go by what Chris and Katie Proudfoot say, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go with that. Unless we see, know for sure that he was at this job site, or I shouldn't say the job site, he wouldn't be there in the middle of the night, I don't believe. But in that area, because he was working, there's, we just don't know that. But purportedly, he was there 3 hours and 21 minutes away and didn't find out about this until Katie told him. And in fact, they talked about it on the phone, talking for 3 hours, kind of during this time frame where maybe Sebastian could have been disappearing, right? Because Katie says she went to bed midnight something, right? And that she was talking on the phone prior to that. Law enforcement has all that. We can't solve this, but law enforcement has solved where everyone was at least their cellular devices, and where whether his truck was in and around. And I saw something very recently that looked like a little slip up by Chris Proudfoot talking about his truck being there. I can't say it's strong enough to say whether, and then he came back later and kind of tried to clean it up. I don't know. I don't think we should speculate on this point because law enforcement knows. Law enforcement knows. So if they 100% could conclude that Chris Proudfoot had nothing to do with Sebastian Rogers' disappearance, I am just going to say I'm surprised they haven't come out and said something.
And I want to know what's this talk that somebody on this panel is saying that I told you that my truck was in that neighborhood the night Sebastian went missing or the night before.
That's not what was said. What was said was you said that your truck's Wi-Fi was in the cart when the cart team did their thing on the 25th or the 26th. And I also restated that it could have very well been when you came home after Sebastian went missing.
So that would have had to been the 26th when I got to my house.
That's what we said.
That's what we said.
Chris. That's exactly what we said.
Whether my truck wasn't in the area, the vicinity, and the FBI knows this. So don't speak of my truck being in that vicinity, that area, until the 26th at 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
But what we said was that they did it for the 25th and the 26th. So it's just as much likely that it was when he came in after Sebastian went missing.
This is you get a bunch of people out here. You say one thing, you mean one thing, and this, that, and another, and then it runs wild like a fucking brush fire that goes crazy.
It's true.
And here we are. We're 10 months into this. We got no leads. We got nothing. But yet we got another team over here that's out here just throwing shade left and right and a bunch of
Okay, guys. So Chris is up on panel. I know that we watched a couple of these last night, but I kind of wanted to just put them together that way. If other people weren't here, then we can look at those. And then I wanted to say hi to everyone coming in. Couponing, nice to see you. Sandy, we definitely need to hit up some of the bars in the Memphis area. We're going to need some good disguises. And yeah, he doesn't want anyone to speak about his truck, right? He comes up there guns a-blazing. He's upset about the truck. He doesn't want anybody to talk about it. Now, apparently, at some point, either Chris and Katie tell Truth that on the 25th and the 26th, the police performed some geofencing in the area, or maybe they did a tower dump. But either way, that's when his truck was picked up in the web of the geofence area. And Chris goes on to say that there's no leads after 10 months. So there's nothing at all after 10 months. And, it's weird. It's odd to me. It seems like he's fine with that, but Sandy. And, he seems like he's fine with it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but to me, it just kind of feels like, Chris is just in that mindset, like, oh, well, they don't have any leads. It's been 10 months. But any other regular parent, even a step parent, would be beside themselves knowing that there was no evidence or proof or any new leads after 10 months. It's really upsetting. And I think a lot of us are upset about that kind of thing. Just because, I mean, we've been following the case, but as parents of the missing child, I would think that they would be really upset about this, not necessarily upset with law enforcement. It's not their fault if there's no new leads coming in, but just upset at the fact that there aren't any new leads coming in. So I wanted to kind of point that out just for whoever missed out yesterday. And then too, with the geofencing, that's how they were able to figure out what was going on there and how Chris's truck was picked up in the area. But I wanted to go back over a couple of other interviews, and I prepared a couple of clips where people have talked with him about this. So let's watch.
You can really help us by searching your own property twice a day. Like I said, we're operating under the assumption that Sebastian walked off, and we really need your help to ensure that he is brought home safely.
That morning, was there any sign of a break-in through a window, a front door, a back door, a sliding glass door, anything at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay, no sign of forced entry. Was anything taken from the home at all?
Not that we could find anything. We couldn't find anything missing.
I want to circle back to Sebastian's shoes regarding if anything was missing. Do you have a burglar alarm?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a Ring doorbell cam?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
People have asked about interrogations and polygraphs. All this stuff has been done. All of it has
I
been
think
done.
that was one of the questions that I had up next was, have you both taken a polygraph test?
The results are passed.
The results of the polygraph was that you passed. Is that both of you passed, or can you say?
Yes.
Okay. Specifically, Chloe and Mo wanted to know specifically, could you elaborate? Did you take one and also pass? I would like for Chris to clarify what he meant when he said he hasn't seen Sebastian since early February. Are you able to clarify? And if you're not, just state that.
So I cannot give certain details with this investigation, and that's kind of one of those things.
Okay.
I wished I could eventually down the road. I'm sure that will allow to come out.
Okay.
But as it stands right now, the answer that I've given is early February was the last time that I saw Sebastian. And no, I was not home when all of this took place. I actually got back to Nashville, and I believe it was later in the afternoon. But I was on the phone with the police for the majority of that day until I physically got here.
Do you all have camera footage in your home? I've heard people saying that too.
That is some information that we cannot divulge at this time due to the ongoing investigation.
Okay.
Thank you.
I wish we could, but unfortunately we can't.
They want to know that you definitely took a polygraph and passed because it got cut off by a different question and they feel like you did not answer that. So I'm just asking one more time. This is the last time, guys, I'm going to revisit this question.
Okay. For the record.
Mo, he said he passed it, according to Amy.
Well, hold on. Somebody asked the question, was a polygraph taken and has it been passed? Yes. I didn't specify who or when. But what I can tell you, everything has been vetted completely. Polygraphs have come back as passed. So I'm confused as in why they're all wondering if myself, my wife, and the biological father took one. When law enforcement agency has come out and told everybody even in the TBI news link. If you guys hadn't read that, please go out and read that. That's got a lot of great information in it, especially it's probably the most up-to-date information. But they will even tell you at this point in time, they have no reason to speculate foul play, anything on the parents. Everybody's been extremely cooperative of anything and everything they've asked us.
Okay.
Let me ask you, what do you think about a polygraph? Would you take one?
All day long.
Okay. You think your wife would?
I know she has, so I don't really care.
I mean, I'm just asking if she would, if you think she would.
She did.
I don't know if she did or not. I'm asking you.
Well, I'm telling you, she did.
Okay, let me ask you this right here. I thought you took one.
Negative. And that's where everybody's.
No, but okay. I thought you, and I'll show you. If I need to see, I'll send it to you where you said you did.
No, somebody asked me this a question.
Yes, and I've got that.
Hold on. The question got asked. Have y'all taken a polygraph? Yes.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to find this for you and read it to you.
I didn't specify who took the polygraph.
Hold on. I'm going to get it for you. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to pull that.
Don't take it wrong. We should have done this in person.
Well, listen. I mean, do you want me to? I'll start a live stream right now.
No. I said in person.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to scare you. I mean, I knew I would scare
You ain't gonna scare me. That's why I'm saying we should have done this in person.
And why not? And why not take? Well, listen. Why not take one and rule yourself out? That's not the question I have.
So hold on.
Because you did state.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to pull this screenshot I've got up because I do have it.
And your question, you just asked me why I wouldn't take a polygraph.
Because you stated you did. So why don't you just
Negative.
do it?
Negative.
Just do
question,
it. Okay, I'm going to pull it where you did.
No, the question came out. Did y'all take a polygraph?
Fufu was that person, and no, it was you, and it said passed. And then it stated another time.
Somebody asked, has there been a polygraph taken, and what were the results? Taken, yes. Passed, yes.
Hold on.
And then somebody replies back, well, you don't get the interest of the polygraph right away. Actually, you do.
They're not admissible anyways, but it just...
I mean, it don't matter. I mean, like I said...
Well, no, I'm not saying that no, wait, stop. I'm not saying that to be an asshole. I'm saying they're not admissible anyways. But I
didn't say you were.
No, but I don't know how to read you, though. I don't know how to read you.
You were wrong on that. That's
you're very condescending. You are. And you are. You're an asshole. I think you can admit that. So, I mean, you can.
I'm an asshole. Don't get me wrong. I'm an asshole to boot.
Oh, I know you're an asshole. You're a major asshole. But do you bother me? No.
I'm an asshole. I mean,
I could handle you all day long, and we could keep.
I'm a caring
I could go all night, and we could do this back and forth right here, and you won't win. You will never win. Trust me, you'll not.
This is why I said this would have been great to do in person.
You couldn't handle it.
Why not? You kidding me?
Trust me, I know you couldn't. You don't know me very well.
Once again, this would be fun to do in person.
You don't know me very well. You have no clue.
I don't need to know you.
Yeah, that's true. You don't.
Exactly.
Correct. Keep that in mind and remember that.
Okay.
Now let me find this.
Please excuse any of my questions. I'm simply trying to find out more about that night. Do you two sleep in the same bedroom? When you are home, do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Calm down. Go take deep breaths.
All right, so do this. While you're doing that, what's your next question?
We're going to get to this one settled first. It's going to be okay. Why?
Have the two of you taken a polygraph?
I have.
I have not.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts I did not need one.
I understand. Miss Proudfoot, did you pass your polygraph?
I did.
Okay, guys. So we're kind of jumping in between a couple of different subjects here. And I just wanted to say hello to everyone coming in. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Ginger Girl. So we're kind of jumping between, like, did they pass the poly? Did they even take a poly? And then also kind of when Chris was home and what he has to say about, when he was home. I'll go up to some of your comments too, because I did see some interesting ones in there. Ginger Girl, I have not seen the interviews or the Duchess episodes where she goes over her interviews that were off camera with the Proud Feet, and so I might go check those out and see. I really felt, just my own opinion, I really felt bad for Hey Maui son, good to see you, for Duchess, because she is somebody that does share out flyers. She cares a lot. She helped a lot in this case in terms of getting Sebastian's name out there on the blip billboards and things like that. So she did a really good job there. And they were very, it just seemed like they were ungrateful, I guess is the best way I can say it. Which, I mean, if someone was helping you spread the word about your missing child, you'd think you would be kind to them and not lie to them. And I think that they did lie to her several times. They lied to all of us though. So, I mean, I don't think it was anything personal. I think it's just to cover their own behinds. I know, Sandy, it's terrible trying to trying to listen to these over again, but I think now that we know more, there's going to be some little things that we can key in on, and we can kind of get a better understanding and idea. I'm sorry, guys, my camera is just a little bit weird today. I don't like it having too much above my head. But so basically, we started out this clip with law enforcement saying, and this was within the first 7 days, that they're operating under the assumption that Sebastian walked off. And that was an assumption they were operating under for quite some time, a little bit too long, if you ask me. I understand they were going by what the parents were saying and that sort of thing. But in the same way, it's their job to look at all aspects of the case. And I really feel like they didn't do that in this case at all. I think they just continued to operate under that same assumption, and it really it really caused them to lose a lot of evidence, a lot of time and energy that they wasted. They searched the same areas around the house multiple times, and they still didn't do any type of luminol in the house or anything like that, according to what the Proud Feet said, and then also what Jennifer Coffenduffer also said. So we got a lot of bull crap out of Mr. Foot, Stepfoot, when it came to the polygraphs. Katie was always very quiet until she was directly asked by Nancy Grace. But Mr. Foot, he says polygraphs passed, but then he also lies about them. I found it very interesting that he says polygraphs plural, but then he says that he didn't specify who took the polygraph. And at that point, Seth had not taken a polygraph either. And I have to say, even though Chris is a self-proclaimed a-hole, I mean, I have to believe that LE told them all the same thing. And I'm thinking that they may have even told Katie that, and that she may have never even taken a polygraph. Now, I don't have any proof of that, so I don't like to speculate too far into it. But not only did Mr. Foot say this, but also Seth said that these polygraphs were not needed because they had their location, and I have that clip for you. So I did want to show that to you, but I do find it to be extremely difficult for me to believe that if law enforcement told Seth and Chris this, that they didn't tell Katie this. They know her location too. She was asleep in bed, right? And they thought she was asleep in bed and that Sebastian walked off. So if she did take a polygraph test, at what point did she take it? And we have Chris on panel, and a very kind person asking him just flat out, hey, did you take the polygraphs? And there's people, Chloe PI was in the chat that night. She asked him flat out, a person named Mo, but he's lying to everybody. And then he's like, I don't understand. It's like, well, you do understand. So quit playing dumb and answer the question. And you're not being truthful. Everybody knows it. So they're pressing you. And then you, for some reason, I don't know why, but I guess he didn't want to keep on lying, but he just keeps on lying, and finally breaks down and then says, oh, well, no, I didn't specify which one. And then he does the same thing to Terry Lynn. When Terry Lynn asks him, hey, did your wife take one? And then he turns into a man baby and fine and you know, all hateful and everything. And then, you know, she's trying to look for the text messages, or excuse me, the Facebook post where he says this to people. He told people that he passed the polygraph. He said they were taken and passed. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's really difficult to listen to. I agree. You know, he's trying to control the interview with Terry Lynn. She's not having it. She's not allowing him to control this interview. And he's getting more and more frustrated. But, you know, whenever he uses a statement like for the record, or crystal clear, or let's get everything straight, it seems like there's a lie brewing. And so that's what's really, really frustrating about that part to me. And then going back to, was he home? He says that he was not home during that time, that weekend when Sebastian went missing. He wasn't home for the entire weekend. Katie keeps saying that as well. But then he does say, later in the afternoon, I got back to Nashville. Well, Nashville is about 45 minutes away from Hendersonville, I believe. It's a little bit of a drive. So was he coming into Nashville at around 1 o'clock? I don't know. It's very hard to tell, but he did say that he was on the phone with law enforcement the entire time. So I don't know why law enforcement would have been on the phone with him the majority of the day if he wasn't home. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I believe that too is a lie. So there's just tons and tons of lies. Yeah, forever Nikki's mom, he is gross, but Terry Lynn gives it right back to him. Absolutely. And she shuts him down multiple times. Like, you know, yeah. Oh, Star, yeah, at least he's a self-proclaimed a-hole, you know, he admits it. He knows all day that he is a butt. And I do love Terry Lynn. I do love her. I wanted to bring her interview in because she's very candid with him and very direct. And I think it makes him nervous, and that's why he keeps redirecting. Also, I think that he underestimates women, and I think he always has underestimated us. And then this all happens, and he's only willing to interview with women at first, and because he thinks he can handle us, and he's sadly mistaken, because we have strong women up there like Nancy Grace, like Terry Lynn, like Smiley, who are interviewing this guy and who are not allowing him to skate these questions. They keep asking in a direct way. Some have a softer approach, and then others, of course, have a little bit more of a direct approach. Margaret, Terry Lynn, come down and take a deep breath. I know, she's funny. I don't think I put the calm your tits in there, but that was my favorite quote from Terry Lynn that day. She said, calm your tits. And hey Jude, Brown Eyed Girl says, hey Jude, I think I did. Oh, okay. Oh, good. I want you to be modded there. Hello, Margaret. She says, I've been here since it started. Oh, good. I kind of changed the intro a little bit because I wanted to add Miss Nancy Grace in there. And Star says his whereabouts aren't really confirmed or alibied as far as I know. So in my opinion, that would be the ball dropped by LE. Absolutely. Like, that's kind of where I'm going with, thank you, Star, because that's where I'm going with this. I hate to bash the law enforcement officers. I understand they didn't have anything to do with Sebastian's disappearance, but the way that they handled or mishandled everything in the case, it's just, it would be a disservice to Sebastian if we didn't address it. So I think it's something that we need to kind of go back and re-explore, especially because I'm wondering if they said that to all three parents, the same thing that Seth maintained, and so did Chris. Oh, they didn't need me to do a polygraph test because they knew my location, they knew where I was, and so they said that I didn't need a polygraph. Which, even Nancy Grace was like, okay, sure. So if Nancy Grace has heard of that before, which she's, one of the queens of true crime here, she's a former prosecutor. She saw all kinds of different cases in her time. And so, I believe that it's a very strong possibility that none of them took the polygraph. And if Katie did take one, it wasn't until well after all of this nonsense with I didn't specify who took one and da 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 da. These interviews too are, just so you guys get a good idea, I tried to mark all of them, but I think I missed a couple. So the ones we're kind of looking at today are going to be the first interview, which was with Duchess for the Missing. That was on March 3rd. We have Caitlin Miller. Let's see. Oh, I don't think I put only hands in there. No, it was Holly Thompson of the local news there in Nashville. That was March 4th, so 8 days in. And then Duchess for the Missing, they went back on her show on the 17th. And then Smiley Stories World was March 20th. Terry Lynn's is March 21st. Nancy Grace was the 25th. And then Web Sleuths, which was on the 27th of April. So it's just going over all of them, and I wanted to do these quick comparisons. And Sandy says, I hate it when NG says, I understand. She understands that LE says he didn't need to take one. Anyway, we need to watch NG interview with Seth. Yes, I did put a piece of that in here. I did, Sandy. And I agree. I think that it's because she's probably heard that before. Like if they have a good location on you, then there really shouldn't be any reason that you would need to take a polygraph, because if you weren't in the area, then how did you have anything to do with it? Now, one caveat to that would be, and I'm sure this is kind of where you're going, is that if these, even if they're not in the area per se, that doesn't mean that they're not accomplices to what happened. It doesn't mean they weren't on the phone. It doesn't mean that they didn't plan this or premeditate any of this. So, I just find it to be really odd. And then when Jen Kaffendaffer comes out 10 months later and says, hey, look, I don't believe that they took the polygraphs, like any of them did, besides Seth. That's a huge red flag. And that was one of her red flags. You know what I mean? It's great to see you too, Margaret. And Hey Jude says, let's see if you're blue. Yay. Look at Brown Eyed Girl. All right. Yay. That's wonderful. And Star says, I think Nancy Grace uses that more as an, okay, next question. Well, that's true too, because Nancy's like no nonsense. So she's not going to really sit there and belabor the point a whole lot. So that could be possible too, where she's just like, whatever, and I think she went into the interview trying really hard to believe them, but I don't think she did. I really don't. As savvy as she is, and as experienced and seasoned she is, I don't think that she believed not a word they said. And I'm pretty sure she saw the interviews up to that. I know she saw, because she referenced the Chronicles of Olivia one, or at least she saw some pieces of it. And I don't know about you guys, but I think that she might have even saw the Terry Lynn interview, because she's asking them if they sleep in the same bed. And obviously, like, if they were sleeping in the same bed and he was right next to Katie, I'm sure she wouldn't really approve of that talking, the way that he was talking, at least. But that's just, speculation. Dreams, good to see you. Good to see you. And Forever Nikki's mom says, I always thought NG did that okay to be a smart ass, lol, right? And it could, it very well could be, it very well could be. There could be a lot of things going on, and then also, nobody really wanted to rock the boat with these two. Maybe she was worried if she pressed them too hard that they would just hop off the live and pretend, or excuse me, hop off of her panel and act like they had a bad connection. So that could have been, something like that. Whack-a-troll. Brown-eyed girl, you're so funny. And Dream says, hey, love. And let's see. Hey, Joseph. Good to see you. Good to see you. And, thank you, Brown-eyed girl. Look at all those hearts. I love them. And and Star says, Seth was on camera though, right? What about CP? Right. Well, and Seth has produced the receipt, so we haven't seen the actual footage of him on camera, of course. But Bullhorn Betty did request his, or sorry, BHB, requested his time cards, and they were sent over to her, like his official time cards. So we at least have that much from Seth and a polygraph. So they're not admissible in court. I get that part. Absolutely. Hey, Sylvester. Nice to see you today. And I think that, that just speaks volumes, because if I was at work, I would want to show people all the proof I could, so you guys wouldn't think I had anything to do with it. That's just me. I'd be coming out with receipts and being like, look, this is where I was. My good friend over here, we go to lunch every day, that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's definitely curious that he doesn't have any receipts, but Seth does, and Seth's always been straightforward. So that's just a whole big difference between the two. And Sylvester says, some are going to get a hold of Nancy Grace and have the three parents do polygraphs. Yeah, I mean, that would be a good idea. I would think that it would just she would only need one from Katie and Chris, because of the fact that she actually paid a polygraph expert, and we'll see later in the video, or in the clips that I prepared, that she actually came out of her pocket to do this and set this up. She also set one up for Chris, but he decided that he wasn't going to take it, and then he blamed the TBI. So she was not a happy, camper on that one. And Hey Jude says, Seth's mom said Katie's polygraph was inconclusive. Right. Well, and here's my biggest question. How on God's green earth did Katie pass this polygraph? Did she do one of those tricks that you see, that you can do, like, putting a thumbtack in your shoe, or, there's different ways to elevate your heart rate. So that way, when they get the baseline, when they just ask normal questions like, what's your name? Where did you grow up? They ask some, normal questions to just establish a baseline, basically. And so there is ways of, kind of screwing with that baseline in a way. So if it came out inconclusive, that would make sense. Absolutely. Hey, Jude, thank you for that. And Sylvester says, no one thinks CP and KP would show up though. No, I don't think so either, Sylvester. I think that they would probably be like, name the time and place, ma'am, like you said, and then not show up, which is, I mean, I don't understand. I'd be terrified to do that to Nancy Grace. I think she would come find me and knock on my door. Oh, okay. I think you meant good to see you. That always does that. My phone autocorrects to that all the time. Forever Nikki's mom says, welcome, and Sylvester. Welcome, Sylvester. I saw that also, praying they will do it, but seriously doubt it, in my opinion. Yeah, I just don't think they will. I don't think they're capable of being honest that long of a period of time. And it's really hard to really figure out what they're being honest about. The only reason that I believe that the law enforcement agencies told them they didn't need to take a poly was because Seth said the same thing. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't even believe that. But if they told Seth that, then I'm guessing that they also told Chris that. But why get upset, Why not just say, hey, law enforcement told me that I didn't have to take one, just like Seth did. He's like, hey, they told me I didn't have to take one, and so, but I don't mind taking one. Sure, I'll take one, and he did. Sylvester says those two do polys, in my opinion, because they will fail. Yeah, absolutely. Well, they don't want people to know they're being dishonest, and that's one way to tell. Again, it's not 100%. There's really not like a whole pass or fail either. It's kind of based on, like a numbering system, and not to get too far into it, but it's basically by questions. You answered this question truthfully, you answered this question deceptively. So it's based on that. It's per question really, and then it's scored. And Joseph Rapp says, has CP said why he was absent from home almost all of February? He has not. He has not. And we kind of get into that too, along with the polygraphs with this, because I'm really curious about that as well. It's like, okay, well, if you weren't home for that whole month, and even Terry Lynn, that's why I put another excerpt from her in there, because she's trying to understand, why weren't you living at the same house as, your family? So why aren't you living with Katie and Sebastian? We know why he's not living with Faith, because Faith's mom lives all the way in Albuquerque. But how come, because she even asks him, hey, well, what about, like, did you ever live in there as a family? Do you guys use it for vacationing ever? Like, go camping, stuff like that? And he's like, no, I strictly use it just for work, so I don't have to stay in a hotel. Which, and I hate to defend Chris, but if I had a 3.5 hour, if I had a 4 hour drive, back and forth, give or take, I would probably stay there and then come home on the weekends, just because that's a heck of a drive, especially all day. And then if you work like 10-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts, there's not enough hours in the day. So I completely understand why he would, stay there. A lot of those guys get per diem money and things like that for food and lodging. So yeah, it's really very curious, Joseph. I agree. And Brown Eyed Girl says CP will say LE won't allow me to take that. Yeah, in my opinion. Yeah, he has said it too. He has said it, Brown Eyed Girl. It's like, oh, well, they don't want me to take it. They don't want me to take it. And it's like, well, I don't know if it's they don't want you, but maybe it was because they had your location, which would make sense, but still that doesn't mean that he didn't have anything to do with it, or that he didn't have any like knowledge of it. Hey, C. Taylor, nice to see you. Yes, we love our Terry Lynn. What lizard? What lizards? And Star says, Joseph, his excuse at least was working in Memphis. Yeah, I mean, like, if he's all the way in Memphis, but still, like, he could have had something to do with it, or knowledge of it. Um, like Jen Coffendoffer said last night, hey, he was basically saying, if you don't get rid of Sebastian, I will, which is really harsh words. So, I mean, maybe Katie was like, well, I guess I need to get, I mean, it's all alleged, but it's definitely a possibility. And Sylvester says, is that crystal clear? Every time he says crystal clear, I'm like, he is going, thank you, hey Jude. He is going to lie. It's like I cringe and I'm like, uh-oh, what's he gonna say? When's he gonna lie about? And Brown Eyed Girl says, he makes me want to jump out of my 90-pound self and go ninja on him. Me too. Me too. I weigh more than that, but I would like to go full on ninja if I could. And Joseph says, if I was told my child was missing, I would leave work before I took my next breath. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I know. Like, that's the first thing. You just like run out the door and answer questions later. I agree. And then remember, it's alleged that he didn't even tell anybody that Sebastian was missing. He was just acting like a jerk, and they're like, you need to go home. You're in no condition to work. And it's also alleged that like he stayed at work until they told him to leave, not the other way around, like not what he said happened, because he said that he can't just leave work like that. But anybody, I agree, Joseph, anybody in their right mind would ask for forgiveness later, ask for permission later. Thank you, hey Jude, for putting Jen's down in chat. And Star says, Joseph raps some, fire me, I'll deal with the fallout later. Or same, yeah, just fire me and I'll deal with the fallout later. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, most parents wouldn't even think twice. Like you said, your very next breath would be you driving in the car. Absolutely. And Brown Eyed Girl says, everyone feels that way. Yeah, or Hey Jude says to Brown Eyed Girl, everyone feels that way. Yeah, this mess makes me cry. Yeah, absolutely. It's so sad, especially for Sebastian, because like he deserves so much better, better attention, definitely on the part of law enforcement. But then also, just as we found out, all of the things that he had to endure before this, it's just it's too much. It's really too much. And for them not to pounce on that, knowing that if they did, I mean, I'm assuming they knew. I know what happens when we assume, we make an ass out of ourselves, and blah blah blah. But that's something my mom always used to say. But it's something that I don't know. I'm guessing. I guess I should say I'm guessing that they knew about the CPS, at least the last report, since it was still open. But if they did a little deeper digging into it, they would see it, I would think. And Sylvester says, my kids are grown, but I always protect. Yeah, absolutely. My daughter's grown too, but, I have her location. I know where she's at. She tells me, you know, she tells me things about her life and things like that still. And she's, in her 20s. So, and Hey Jude, thank you for sending Duchess down here. I'm going to have to go watch that because I bet you that is really, really interesting. I really like her voice too. And Hey Jude, thank you for doing the Fox Nashville. Thank you. I'm sorry, I have all this like mashup, these mashup interviews. And I had them prepared for a while, but it's just going through them all, and it's yikes. It's just crazy. Thank you, Star. Sandy says, thank you. I'm cleaning my house and TV's on every room, plus my computer and phone. All right, Sandy, thank you. Oh, we got Miss Smiley's link down here. Guys, Miss Smiley is amazing too. If you guys, I'm sure a lot of you guys know Smiley. And Brown Eyed Girl says, Joseph, I'd be gone like the streak of lightning. Yes, ma'am. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And WSMV. Holly S. Good to see you, Holly S. You look good in blue too, lady. And Sandy says, true. I think she was half listening. Yeah, well, and it's really difficult too, especially when he starts talking. It's like, Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. Skip to my Lou. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. You are everywhere. She is. Hey Jude is amazing. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And Star says, either a skunk went off or I'd have a kid to change. Oh, you have a kid to change. Aw. That's funny. We were talking about getting skunked the other day. Holly S. Beautiful. Yes. Skip to my Lou. Holly S. says, I wouldn't be thrilled to sleep with him. Oh my goodness, no. I think that's why Katie has the dog sleeping with her. Maybe that's why he kicks the dogs out. Because he's the one that said it, not me. So if he wants to get upset, that was all him. It wasn't Katie's mess up either. She was quiet during that one. And Hey Jude says, okay, I'll get it, yes. And so yeah, let's go ahead. Hey, Wheezy Wise. Wheezy Wise says at the landfill in Kentucky, they only dug back into 1 week's worth of trash. They should have dug back 2 weeks worth. The Foot's trash had been picked up twice by then. Yeah, well, in a lot of cases, they will find evidence in the trash. I mean, I can't even count how many times I've been watching, a crime program, and it's like the FBI agents will like go in and wait till the trash comes out and pick through, and they'll find receipts for things and different things that they don't think that anybody's looking for at that point. It's really a smart strategy or tactic to use. So yeah, definitely. And also, Wheezy Wise, I think we can use little Quentin Simon's case as a reference because they were there for a very long time. The Kentucky landfill search was like, you know, done before we knew it. It was only like 2 days. You know, I don't think that's hardly enough time to really sift through and figure out if there's anything that they're missing. Um, yeah, it's just really unfortunate. I don't know what they needed to pull their heads out of their bums. And Hey Jude says, oh, okay. Oh, sorry. This is a. Oh, good. Show Poodles. I'm glad you made it home safe. That's wonderful. Yay. I'm glad. And Wheezy Wise, welcome. Honey Bunny says, Zanny the nanny. Are we talking about? That's really awful. Pick of CP up there. I know. I found that one. I think that was one of the ones Betty posted. But I was like, yeah, liar feet. There we go. And then of course I wanted to add Sebastian's little cute self up there. It's just crazy. Like Katie looks like she's in just like you know, maybe like first date mode. Like she looks like on a honeymoon or something. Like, ooh, let's ride into the sunset on our bike here. It's ugh. And Dream says they wouldn't use a local dump to dispose of anything as a local dump. The individuals involved are um, smarter than that. Well, they have to be. You know what I mean? Like, because I've spent a lot of time kind of teasing Chris, and you know, he says words like, you know, he means to say privy, but he says pervy, and you know, just little things like that. That's just kind of funny because he really like means it when he says pervy. Like he thinks he's saying the right word, and it's funny to me. But like what you're saying though is right. They're a lot smarter than you know, I've given them credit for at most points, because how would they get away with it for so long if they weren't? I mean, they covered their tracks. They had to have. Hey, Lori, good to see you. Good to see you, Lori. And yes, I knew what you meant. Smarter. It took me a minute though. I almost thought it was dumpster at first. At first, and then I'm like, oh no. Yeah, Miss Lori. Definitely a skunk. No, she's too cute to do that. I don't think so. I don't believe you, Star. That's all alleged. And Dream says, I think they did not use their real um, on any of them that night. They know they checked the cell towers too. Yeah, well, I'm guessing they did a dump on the cell towers. I'm guessing they dumped the cell towers. They've done the geofencing. You know, I'd like to believe they did that. Maybe not Sumner County, but definitely once the FBI was assisting, I think that's who did it. I don't know that it was Sumner County. Now that technology is super expensive. We talked about it last night, and I don't know if maybe they had the technology or it was brought in from different agencies. So, and Lori says, Jude, if I'm not a mod lady, I've added this. Oh yes, I did. Yeah, I modded you, Lori. But I modded you. I think I modded you in one of the first ones that we had. It's a capital L. Hey, Jude. And Stream says, oh, for having the time night. Oh, no worries. No worries. I know what you mean. Oh, thank you, Miss Lori. Thank you. So good to see all you guys in here tonight. I'm sorry about the subject matter. I know it's not the most fun stuff. Thank you, Jude. I appreciate you so much. Oh my gosh, I know I have to put them all in afterwards in the description. I'll be sure to do that. I was like down to the wire today though, because I also found a clip that I was looking for you guys too. So I have that at the end. Brown Eyed Girl says the concrete comment in the beginning CP said and went into details, then laughed about it. Absolutely sickening. Yeah, I agree. It was absolutely sickening. And then also like Terry Lynn, she was like, that's gross. It's not funny. Like, what's wrong with you? You know, type of a thing. And he was just like, you know, like he's a creep. You know, I'm sorry. That's my opinion. If he would prove me wrong, I would be happy to apologize. And Terry Lynn, Dream says, TY chair, I appreciate. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, that was probably not. Lori says, sure is brown. Someone said there was new concrete poured on Enoch. Oh, really? Hey, Jude. Oh, gosh. See, that scares me because of the Springfield 3. That, I know there's dogs that can sniff under the concrete. And then there's also like technology that can go over the concrete and it can go down a few feet to see if anything is in there. But they would have to have like a location mapped out for that. And yeah. Oh, that's just so terrible. Hi, Freebird. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, hey, I added those flying monkeys in for you for the custom emoji. In Star says, dreams, of course, we're all human. Just remember to pause and breathe. Yeah, absolutely. This is, I mean, it's just a whole bunch of lies and it's hard. It's really, really hard to listen to. I agree. Hey, Poppy Love. Good to see you. Good to see you. I still need to get a copy of that Voyage book and read the 5th one in the series. I still haven't done that. Show Poodle says, it never ends for parents. I am 63. My parents are in their late 80s and they check on me every day. Oh, that's so sweet, Show Poodles. Exactly. You just gotta, you gotta check on your kids, I mean, I know my daughter, she's like in school working a lot and stuff like that, but I always do that. I'll be like, I'm thinking about you today, or I'll send her a nice message and just tell her, that I'm proud of her, or just anything, because yeah, she's always my baby. She's always going to be my baby. And Holly says, Jude, the concrete concerns me. It does me too, Holly. It's scary. It is. It is scary. Well, welcome back, couponing. Yes, I'd sleep with him all right. Yes. Yes. And Margaret says, I've been listening, but I'm back. Oh, good, Margaret. Yeah, there's not too much that we'd have to read through. I think there was a little bit that I put into another part of the video, but I could always read it back. And Margaret says, we have tornadoes here and have to keep an eye on the weather. Yeah, there's tornadoes in all different parts, and then it's raining here. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's raining. It's supposed to be thunderstorms right about now, but I think it's just rain for right now. Aw, Poppy Love. And Holly says, I hope they haven't botched this case so bad it's too late. I know, Holly, I feel the same way. I'm like, I don't know what they've done, or that's the whole thing that is really, really confusing, is that we don't really know, because we're relying on what the feet have said, and then what Seth has said, because law enforcement hasn't really come out and said too much about any of it. The last time was April 2nd that they did a presser, but that was it. Yeah, that was it. And Freebird says, I heard there might be tornadoes in Louisiana. Yeah, I hope Gracie is okay. I know. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of, was Gracie, because she said that there was tornadoes, and I was like, oh gosh, especially because they can be unpredictable. I remember the one that happened up in Joplin, Missouri, and it was like it just picked and chose a path. It didn't. It was really indiscriminate. It was weird because I went up there after it happened. And Lori says, yes, Margaret, keep an eye out. Yes, yes. And if you have to, you got to get in the bathtub, and oh my goodness, or unless you have a basement, you know. But they say if you get in the bathtub, that's a good place, or just any place that has like a interior kind of wall to protect, to protect you. And Hey Jude says, Freebird, I hate tornadoes. We will check on her. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know. I think she was okay because I talked to her a little bit earlier today, but I haven't talked to, I think it was like around 5 though. So it's been a little bit. Hey, Joe. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. And Joseph says, weaning from tornado. Thanks for distracting me. Oh, good. Good. I'm happy to do it. And Lori says the sunset all the way to lockup. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait till something happens in this case. I know you guys feel the same way. I really do. I really do. Oh yeah, I like watching the real time storm chasers too. I could never do that. Like that would be that's too much for me, but easy transition. Joseph says, "No, we know, or do we know how long grandparents stayed in Alaska?" I don't know a specific on that. I know it was for Papa Sox's work, that it's something that he would go frequently for like a work meeting, but I don't know how long it was. I don't think it was for a terribly long time. Oh yes, for the pain. Oh, okay. Aw. Couponing says, Freebird, I was watching him earlier. Yeah, hey Jude, you know about that. Joe says, even with a so-called burner phone, it will still ping on the cell towers. Yeah, Joe, absolutely. And we were talking about that last night. The only way that it won't ping the cell towers is if it's in one of those Faraday like bags or boxes, or if it has a VPN. Those are the only times where the phone is protected from the signals going straight to either the geofencing, like the Stingray technology, or over to the cell towers. But there's ways of gathering it. I mean, they would have to take the cell phone or whatever out of the Faraday box at some point, or bag or whatever. The VPN is a little trickier, but I don't know that they had those safeguards in place. And Freebird says, couponing, yeah, him and Max are great on giving out tornado warnings. Oh, see, that's cool. It's important. You never know. You never know what's going on with the tornadoes. It's a crazy situation. And Star says that comment about concrete is towards the very top of disturbing things he said. Yeah, I think one of the most disturbing things he had said, because also he thought it was really funny too. Like, if your kid's missing, it would be hard for me to find humor in something like that. Now, um, I like to think I have a pretty good sense of humor about stuff, and when I'm sad, I do like to laugh at stuff, but it wouldn't be anything pertaining to like what happened to my child or my stepchild, either one. You know, Margaret, you got that right. Oh my goodness, he is creepy. Forget Freddie and Jason. We got Mr. Foot. We got Stepfoot over here. He's scarier than all of them. And Poppy says, Joseph, I'm sorry you're dealing with the pain. I understand. Aw, Poppy, that's so nice of you. Jeepers Creepers, Margaret. And Freebird says, hey Jude, yeah, I was trying to see from satellite images if they explain any patios, etc. It's sick to think of, but after what CP said, I have to take it into consideration, in my opinion. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Ah, that's sweet. That's sweet of you, Joseph. And hey Jude. Oh, good, good, good. Sugar water, Edgar. Brown. There you go. Hey Jude. Ground penetrating radar can find something under the concrete, though. Absolutely. That's what I was looking for earlier when I said that. It was like the technology, and I couldn't remember it. So thank you so much. I do not like that word penetrate. that's, that's the worst word. It's one of those words that's like, oh. And Star says, Freebird, there's nothing about Sebastian's case that is easy to discuss outside of how handsome he is. Aw, and fantastic, and his fantastic smile. Unfortunately, some information leads to some natural concerns. Yeah, especially when they're talking about, like, I mean, so freely. I think it would be, one thing if he was like, oh God, no, or something like that. It's just for him to be laughing and joking about it. It's like, ooh. Forever Nikki's mom says, I'll be listening, but I'm going to get to this sweet grandson to sleep. Oh, yes, get him to sleep. Aw. And Brown Eyed Girl. Oh. Thank you and prayers to all having bad weather, says Margaret. I'm sorry, but what concrete? Oh my. Okay, so in the beginning of, and we dropped Terry Lynn's link. So in the beginning of her interview with Chris, when she's talking with him on the phone, she asks him about a comment that was made on Facebook about Sebastian possibly being under the concrete at the job site where he was, because those cranes, they were pouring concrete and things like that. And he started laughing and saying that, oh, it wasn't possible, and that's why he was laughing. And it's very concerning, you know. Ah, that's sweet of you, Star. Absolutely. Hey Jude says, looks like central Mississippi right now has a tornado warning. Oh, wow. Yes, everyone be safe, please. Margaret says, that's okay, Brown Eyed Girl. I misspelled the all the time. I do too. And then also, like, it's hard when you're trying to do the chat sometimes. And Brown Eyed Girl says, oh my goodness, I live in Missouri. It's been raining here since last Monday. Oh, wow. Your body pain can't take it. Oh, no, Brown Eyed Girl. Yeah, it does. It does do a lot with the weather. I don't know why it, like when it's muggy and stuff like that. Wow, I didn't know it's been raining all week in Missouri. Sandy says, not bad, 38 in chat, 34 likes. Hey, that's good. Good job, guys. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Hey Jude says, Dreams is hearing, I'm hearing Enoch. See, and that's scary because I know a lot of people have been talking about Enoch lately. Ugh. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you guys. I like watching. Star says, not sure how I feel being with a pro tornado chaser. Part of me is like, once, and then the other part of me has to remember I've had heart issues in the past. Oh no, right? Oh gosh. I know, because it's scary. I mean, it's adrenaline rush, I bet, just seeing that tornado and being in that situation. And Dream says, oh my, sending prayers for protection. I will stick with an earthquake. And in a little wind, tornadoes you can run in. I don't think I would run in yours. Stay safe, all. Aw. The last time I was in a tornado situation, I had a basement, so it wasn't it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad at all. Star says, Dreams, I live in California, Loma. Oh, pass on earthquakes. Oh no. I've never been in an earthquake before. And Freebird says, not trying to be mean, but I watched a storm chaser live during the hurricane in Florida, and he passed Jay Man trying not to say the creator's name in the middle of the street, filming a piece of roof. Oh, and a storm. Oh, wow. Called him. Oh. I think I know exactly what you're talking about, Freebird. Hey, Jude says, there was a tornado a half a mile from me last December. I had me 2 dogs and a cat in the shower. Oh, aw. I'm glad you guys were all together, though. That's good. That's good. That is really good. Okay, guys, I'm going to play this next clip. And let me go ahead and make sure. Okay, yeah, I'm on 4. Do 4.
What questions were you asked during your polygraph?
I was asked if I knew where my son was. I was asked if I hurt him. I was asked if I had hurt someone, among a few other questions.
And Mr. Proudfoot, you have volunteered to take a poly?
Yes, ma'am.
If I were to set up a poly for you, would you take it?
Name the place and time, ma'am. I'll be there.
Sebastian's dad, his bio dad, Seth, I don't understand that because he told me he would take a polygraph if I set it up. I set it up. I went through a lot of hoops to get it set up. One convenient to him in the area where he says he's working. Then he wouldn't take it and blames the TBI. So now I find out he's told other outlets he's taken one and passed. Do you know the truth?
I don't. I really don't know, but I'll tell you what. I volunteered to take polygraph. I was told that I wasn't. I didn't need to because they have my location and whereabouts, but I still volunteered. And if somebody wants me to take one, that's something of my own free will. I haven't been told by TBI that I can't take one.
We all remember that moment when I put Sebastian's father, Seth, on the hot seat on national TV and asked him, would he be willing to take a polygraph? He said yes. He did take a polygraph. Straight back out to Seth Rogers. Joining us is Sebastian's father. And now joining us is a renowned polygrapher, Kendall Schule, former head of the entire FBI polygraph program in D.C., former special agent with the FBI in D.C. He is at Kendall Investigations. Also joining us, Tony Mathis, who is helping Seth Rogers as he walks this very, very rocky path. First of all, let me just get this out of the way. This is a yes/no, Kendall Schule. Did Seth Rogers pass his polygraph?
Yes, he did.
Okay, Seth Rogers, tell me about going and taking the polygraph. We want to hear every single word because I've got a stack of nasty online posts about you failing, about you not going, blah, blah, blah. A lot of trolls chiming in. Let's get to the truth of that polygraph. Seth, what happened?
I showed up early for the polygraph. Mr. Kendall contacted me and told me that he'd be there well before the time that we had stated. So I showed up and I sat in the chair and let him attach those things to me and took the polygraph.
Have you ever had a polygraph before?
No, ma'am.
And what kind of questions did the polygrapher Kendall Schule ask you?
If I had ever wanted to harm anybody, if I ever wanted to hurt my son, if I had ever hurt my son, if I'd ever had anything to do with his disappearance.
Question. You said they hooked you up. What do you mean by that, Seth Rogers?
They put things on my hands. They wrapped cords around me. They had a blood pressure cuff on me to measure my blood pressure, measure my heart rate, my breathing rate, things like that.
How long did it take?
It took a minute.
It took 60 seconds. Could you be precise or more precise? How long do you think it took?
We were there for 3 hours, 4 hours.
That's about right. It's not easy. Okay, sit tight, Seth. And again, thank you for being with us. Out to Kendall Schule, as I told you, former head of the entire FBI polygraph program in D.C. Kendall, thank you. when we put out the word that Seth Rogers would take a polygraph, we contacted you because of your reputation. You quickly agreed, and I thank you for that. Again, this was not free. He was paid to do the polygraph. He owes nothing to anybody, and therefore was not swayed one way or the other. He had never met Seth Rogers before in his life. Mr. Schul, I've looked very carefully at your polygraph report right here.
Okay, guys, so that's just kind of going over Seth and him taking the polygraph. He did say that the questions were similar to what Katie was asked on her polygraph. Well, quote unquote polygraph. We're not sure if she actually took one. Yes, Brown, I do know about that. I know, and it's tough having to deal with all of that stuff. Oh my goodness. And Poppy says, I pray that the FBI, Secret Service, and whoever else like Dog and Nick brought up the U.S. Marshals. Can others do more? Are they taking over? Do you think Sumner County Sheriff's Department will be held accountable? You know, those are good questions. I don't know. I would hope so. I just feel like I think the sheriff is just so well known in that area. I don't think so. There's been some other corruption too that I haven't really been able to dive as far into as I would have liked to. Some of the things that were actually sent over to me. And so, you know, it's hard to say, but I think the FBI stepping in was a big step in the right direction. I know they were assisting to begin with, but once they put out that $50,000 reward and they really stepped in, I think that that might be part of the reason why things are so quiet right now with the FBI. I think they're working behind the scenes to kind of figure things out. But it would be nice. It would be nice if they could get some more resources in if they're not already utilizing them, you know. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Lori. And Holly says Tony was on Justin's tonight saying he'd like them all to go on Nancy's and do a live poly. Oh wow, Holly, that's okay. That's really interesting. I didn't see that. Oh, I'll have to go watch. Wow. That is really interesting. Why not? I mean, why not do a live? I mean, it couldn't hurt anything. If you have nothing to hide, why not? I would be down for it if it was my kiddo. I would be down for it. Well, if I had nothing to do with it. Maybe if I had something to do with it, I wouldn't want to. But, and Brown Eyed Girl says, I have way too much 16 years of it, and my mind is a mess. Oh, good night, everyone. I love you all so much, and you're all so special to me. Oh, Brown, you're so special to us, too. Thank you for being here. I hope you feel better tonight. I hope you do, hon. I can't believe I forgot Margaret. I can send you a link on Facebook too, Margaret, if you want. I could just send you a link on a Facebook. And Sandy says, "Oh, yay! My favorite Nancy Grace interview. Yay, Sandy! I know they did a great job on that one. And then also one little piece that got cut out, and I didn't want to put it in there because I know they didn't really want it out. But the polygraph examiner did confirm that Seth shared some theories with him, and one of them was that there was a possible accidental OD of medication, that KP possibly could have given too much medicine, even if it was accidental, and that could have been a cause of something horrible happening. But I didn't want to hunt that piece down and put it in because I know that they were kind of upset that it was put in. There was some controversy and all that kind of stuff. Yes, good night, Brown. Good night. Aw. And hey, Jude, thank you for posting that. Nancy knows, Holly. Nancy knows. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's Nancy's link. Holly says, in my opinion, C and K haven't even taken one, much less passed it. I mean, we just don't have any proof of it. And, it's hard to believe, like Jennifer Coffendaffer says, it's hard to believe that they took one. It's hard. We don't have any proof. It would have been nice if law enforcement would come out and say, yeah, we gave Katie a poly. That would be really, really nice. But they have not done that. Lori says exactly. Oh, thank you. Hey, Jude. Those are from like an older video. I did a whole bunch of comparisons and I still haven't been able to post all of them. So I just kind of pulled those in just pertaining to what Jen was saying. So that way we had kind of like a little bit of frame of reference, but thank you. Thank you so much. And Holly says, if CP was anywhere for 4 hours, we'd never hear the damn end of it, in my opinion. That this is true. I agree. If he has like one little bit of something, he would play that till the end. He'd play that card. I agree. Aw, love you too, Brown. Love you too. It was so good to have you here. And Holly, and Hey Jude says, Holly S., I doubt he'd ever took one. Yeah, it's just hard to believe. Yeah, I really believe it's hard. It's very, very, very hard to believe. Um, Yes, Sandy got it going on. Margaret Chapel, we worked something out. No worries, doll. And Couponing says, oh, by the way, the blah blah song was hilarious. Yes, yes. It is hilarious. It is. That's what we need in our lives today is the blah blah song. That's for sure. Couponing. Poppy. Aw, that's sweet Poppy. Yes, accidental my ass. Exactly, Lori. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, good, Gracie. Good to see you, hon. We were talking about tornadoes just a little bit ago. I'm glad to see you. Oh, you just got electricity back? Oh my goodness. Hey, Jude says, Gracie's, hey, love, how's the weather? Aw. Yeah, we're having some weather here. Well, it's raining here. No tornadoes or anything. I don't know if we get tornadoes here or not. That's probably but definitely rain. Definitely rain. It was supposed to be thunderstorming, but all right, guys, I'm going to play this next clip here. And we're on 5.
The devices in the home, have they all been looked at by law enforcement?
Yes, ma'am, they have. Yes, everything has been thoroughly looked at in our house as well as the father's house, excuse me.
The computer and stuff that Sebastian used at his biological dad's, did they take that as well?
Yes, ma'am. Everything has been completely between both households. Everything has been extremely thoroughly scanned, reviewed, everything.
Okay, well, that's good to know. They took the devices from his bio dad's house too.
And if they want to come back and get more devices, like I said, we've opened this house up to everything. If they want it, they come and get it. There is no hesitations, and off they go.
And did they also take the devices from the school as well that Sebastian may have used when you said they took all the devices from your house and from the bio dads? Did they also take the school devices as well to look at?
Sebastian didn't have devices that he had at school. But anything and everything, if he had something, has already been scanned and thoroughly searched. And like I said, if you refer back to that TBI news link and the technology proportion, I believe all of that will answer all those questions.
It's just infuriating. There's no leads. There's nothing. It's just like he vanished in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
And the door's just locked. I get it. And your interior was searched. It wasn't searched with luminol though, right?
With the forensics?
Yeah.
No, they didn't, as far as I know.
They brought the hounds in, I think. Didn't they?
Yes, they asked us whether they could bring the dogs in. We allowed the dogs in the house.
What were they doing? What were they looking for in the backyard?
I do not know.
Do you recall them out there taking pictures and scoping out the backyard?
They
they came and did some mapping of the neighborhood, but I don't know anything as far as like pictures and shit like that in the backyard. No.
Yeah, it was right there. It would be probably close to where, like a fire pit area is, or a window.
That I do not know.
Okay, because they were doing that, and that was just, it made me curious. Question to you guys: when police came in and processed your home, did they look with, for instance, luminol? Did they check? What did they do when they searched your home?
They thoroughly searched my home with many different things. They removed some things for the dogs to hold the scent, and for Sebastian's DNA. I know that they used thermal
Night imagery.
night vision, thank you. And I don't know exactly all of the tools that they used, but I do know that multiple different searches were done on my home by many different people, detectives, sheriffs, and a few others.
Yeah,
Even the dogs.
I wouldn't swear that the forensics folks showed up or not, because there were so many folks in and out of the house that it was just, hi, I'm so-and-so with law enforcement. I'm so-and-so with law enforcement. Okay.
Every time they've said we need to look, please do.
Does Sebastian have a hardwood floor or a carpeted floor?
In his bedroom,
Carpet.
Yes. Carpeting.
Carpet.
Did they remove any carpeting?
No, ma'am.
Do you feel confident they searched his bathroom?
They did.
Yes, ma'am, they did.
When you state that they removed items for the scent dogs, what did they take?
Clothing, a blanket that he used like every day, and a few other items of his, toiletries, like his brush.
Lauren Collin joining us, investigative journalist. Lauren, again, thank you for being with us. And
What do you think you're going to do what's the first thing you're going to do when you see Sebastian?
I'm going to give him a big old hug.
What are you going to take him to go eat?
Well, I won't be the first one taking him to eat. One. That's probably going to be his mama.
What is she going to take him to eat?
Probably sushi.
Ugh. Ugh. That's nasty.
I don't know. He don't really care too much for red meat. He likes more of the fish, seafood type of sushi, tofu. He likes tofu steamed, not fried. It's kind of weird, but that's his thing.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so there's a little bit to unpack in this one, in terms of like the investigation and what devices were taken and seized at that time. The first thing that I noticed was that CP lied. He said Sebastian didn't use devices at school, which we found out later that he used a Chromebook. He took some online courses and received his FFA award, an honorary award, because he wasn't there to receive it. And so right off the bat, he's lying, right there, because we know that he had devices and that the law enforcement agent should have taken those devices. Now, one question that I have is, did they get a search warrant for the Proudfoot home? Because if they didn't seize every device that Sebastian had, just based on their words or their recollection, then did they even have a search warrant for the home? Because he tells Terry Lynn that they allowed the dogs to come in. He didn't say that there was a search warrant provided and that they needed to have the dogs come in. There was never been a search warrant mentioned at all. And it's always been like, oh yeah, we just kind of let them come in, do whatever they're going to do, and they did it. So was there ever a search warrant? And if there was, what was in the probable cause affidavit? What was the evidence to support asking for the search warrant? So that's one huge question that I have. about that. And then when they're speaking with Nancy Grace, CP catches KP when she says, you know, we've just let them come in and do whatever they're going to do. And he says, well, there was law enforcement coming in and out. We didn't know who was who. They were just saying so-and-so from law enforcement, so-and-so from law enforcement. And so he says that they might have done forensics. Was he afraid that Nancy was going to send over like a team of forensic investigators to the house or what? Because he changes his tune dramatically. And he almost gets like, whoa, Katie, hold on. Don't tell her that they didn't do forensics in the home. You know, that sort of thing. So it's very curious. And then also, of course, at the end, I brought up again, why did they go to the roadhouse? What was the reason they went to the roadhouse? Terry Lynn asks Chris, where would you take him to eat when he comes home? And he says, oh, I wouldn't take him. His mother would take him, you know, and she kind of pauses and, you know, it seems to me that her wheels are spinning like, well, what do you mean? You know, you all wouldn't go out as a family and eat dinner all together? And he's like, oh, no, she would take him for sushi. And Terry Lynn's like, oh, boy, sushi. Okay. And he says, well, Sebastian doesn't really care for red meat. So if Katie, again, and I know I'm beating a dead horse over here, but if Katie didn't want to go there to get steak, she didn't eat steak. She didn't order any steak. If Sebastian doesn't care for red meat, then why would you take him to Texas Roadhouse? It makes absolutely no sense. And so I think that there's a lot to that. And the fact that even SF Investigates on their side is putting out this information from the Texas Roadhouse to make them look good, it makes me wonder even more why they went to the Texas Roadhouse and what significance does it have. I believe it has a lot more significance than people are letting on. And I think that's why, especially law enforcement, and I think that's why there's been kind of a back and forth with putting out excuse me, videos and information from the Texas Roadhouse. But I wanted to say hello to people coming in. Good to see you, Chief. I see Chief coming in tonight. Good to see you. Let's see here. Yes, and be careful. Hey, Jude says, be weather aware in the central western area of Alabama. And I know our Margaret lives in Alabama, so be careful, guys. Be careful with the weather. And our Gracie, too. Let's see here. Sandy, CP had the hots for Terry Lynn. Yeah, he does. He does. He does. And she told him plumb off, smooth off. Dream says listening, mommy time. Aw. Margaret says, I think CP has the hots the hots for all women. That's the reason he's been married 5 times. Oh my gosh, right? He's a horn dog. And and Sandy says then he's gonna give TL a big okay hug. Poor Terry Lynn. I love her so much. Damn Proudfoot. Damn Stepfoot. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We gotta laugh about it, right? Because otherwise we'd be mad. We'd be like, what is with this jerk? You know, but it's funny. It's funny. And Margaret says he probably wouldn't hit on a 100-year-old, or he probably would hit on a 100-year-old woman. I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him. And Poppy says allowing so many people in and out of the house, but what I think it's being said to Nancy Grace is law enforcement didn't search the house, do forensics, take electronics, etc. until 2 weeks later. Yeah, crime investigate. Yeah, I know. I mean, talk about dropping the ball. It's like, and they're telling on themselves. Like these are their words. Like I didn't say it. You know, you can't sue me for something you said. So I'm sorry if they get upset. But it's like, listen, you're over here doing. This is what you're doing. This is what you're doing. You know. So, my goodness. And Holly says that that was awkward. And Poppy says, hey, Jude says, Poppy likes Jean Bonnet case. Yeah, I've heard so many comparisons with the Jean Bonnet case. The little girl, Jean Bonnet Ramsey, she was also um, unalived in her own home, big, huge, ritzy house. And she was a beautiful little girl. She was in pageants. She was a pageant little little princess. She's beautiful. And Poppy says, yes, hey, Jude. Sandy. Hey, Jude says he's Scooby, I hear. And Sandy says she did a good job. Yes, she did. She held his feet to the fire, and we needed someone to hold his feet to the fire. So, yeah, I even think she was harder on him than Nancy was. And, that says a lot. It says a lot. Welcome in, Cindy. Nice to see you. She says, I also heard they went to another family restaurant, Home Cooked Meals. Home Cooked Meals. I've never heard of that place. But I'm not as familiar with the Tennessee area, though, either. Yeah, and Holly says, I feel they needed to be out of the house for some reason all day. Well, I know, and see that is really curious too. Why were they running ragged that day? It's a Sunday. I would think if you were going to have that full of a day, and this is just me, maybe I'm lazy, but like if I'm gonna go do all of that stuff, I'm gonna do it on a Saturday, and then that way Sunday's gonna be my chill day, and then also for Sebastian's sake, right? Because he's autistic, he's going to get overstimulated. I felt like I was overstimulated listening to like everything they were doing. Going to pick up the niece, breakfast, spaghetti pancakes, talking on the phone, went and saw the niece, picked her up, went to BJ's, da 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 da, and so on, until 6:30 at night. They were just going, and that's a lot. And then also, when did he have time to like unwind before the school day the next day? I always thought it was super curious that 6 o'clock wake time, and that only gives them an hour to wake up. It's not setting them up for success. And Poppy Love says, won't the FBI and Secret Service go after the local corrupt LE? I would think they would. If they find cause to do so, I would think that they would, especially because, they're they're a higher authority within law enforcement. So I would assume they would, but there's also internal affairs, and internal affairs is really who goes after the corruption too. So I'm surprised that there hasn't been some form of an internal investigation into the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. And I hate saying that because I know it's not everybody at the office that deserves that, but clearly someone needs to be held accountable for dropping the ball, butchering the process to begin with, contaminating the crime scene, not taking it seriously as a crime, only keeping like a one-track mind or tunnel vision on what you're assuming it is. And he wasn't afraid. Sheriff Craddock was not afraid to admit this. You know what I mean? He's like, no, we're operating under the assumption, and if you guys have a better idea, then you let me know, type of an attitude. And it was off-putting, and I thought maybe he was just frustrated. I gave him the benefit of the doubt several times, but at this point, there's not a whole lot of benefit to give. And Chief says, sheriffs and LE dropped the ball. They should have turned it over state police instead of running in place. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I know that there were other people assisting, but they just didn't have the jurisdiction. It was still within the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. So, that's the whole deal. I mean, yeah. And Margaret says, why is it that I can't get into stuff and then I can get into other stuff? Or I can't get into the mod chat. Oh, I know. Oh no. I can just send you over a link, or Hey Jude could too. We'll get you in there. I've seen people posting in there, and then I haven't gone in. And Sandy said one time Terry Lynn said something like, "Oh, I could talk to you all night." And then he's like, "We should have met in person." I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so immature, but I just picture the picture that I put on there of him, and he's like looking at Terry. I'm surprised you didn't get me for that one. I just thought it was too funny. I just thought it was too funny. Margaret says maybe I'm just nervous. Oh, don't be nervous, Margaret. We'll get you in there, girl. Don't worry. We'll get you in there. And Poppy says, was it to wear him out? Oh, yes, Sebastian. Okay, was it to wear him out? Part of the plan that night, hadn't he had his meds seeing him so hungry? That and two, yes, that is another thing. See, Jen kind of speculated that either he was off his meds or he was on his meds, because see, the contradicting part was when Katie said his medication suppresses appetite, so he'll eat more, is what she said, and to Smiley. And what I found to be really interesting is that I don't know that she really understands what suppress means, because suppressing someone's appetite is making it, a smaller appetite. He's not going to be able to eat as much.